Bob. Welcome to the Starch Queens Q&A. If you would like to ask a question, we are all about a whole food plant-based lifestyle. Hi, Mary. We are taking questions about weight loss, toxins, your environment, transitioning to a whole food plant-based lifestyle. So this is what we are talking about today.
So do you have any questions specifically, Nancy,
So I do. We have questions that have been asked, and we've got Anita Hill she's a member of our Starch Queens program. She wants to know about plateaus, how to break the dreaded weight loss plateau and what's going on in your body and your mind when plateaus hit. And then micro and macronutrients is our topic for today. So we've got a couple questions about micro and macronutrients and what are they? And then we have a question about sports drinks, Gatorade. We always see, the commercials with the guy getting hit on the football field and the blue water coming out of him. Do we need to have a pre and post workout drink, or what should we do? So I'm going to take on that question because that's something that I researched heavily when I was training for my 2 marathons. And then on that same note, with the advertisers that are promoting a lot of protein powders and post-workout drinks, how does that affect our kidneys? So protein and kidneys. So I figured that'd be a great Queen of Diamonds question. And then another question we have is how to talk to your doctor about going plant-based. And then another question that's going to actually be included in the plateau is, I'm drinking wine, how come I'm not losing weight? And then the last one is hemp oil for pain. Should I use it? Should I not? So we've got quite a few questions lined up for tonight. I see we've got Rose McDonald Carroll Farr. Hi from Missouri. Hi from California. Hi, Fran. Hi, Cassie Marie Edwards. We're glad that you've joined us. Welcome to the Starch Queens Q&A. Laura, my husband's cousin. Hi, Laura Michael. Welcome to our live broadcast on the Starch Queens. Jean, take it away.
I want to jump in with the Gatorade because that's one of the things that really I'm passionate about. And, I'll turn it over to you, but
we'll share.
Yeah. I know. Well, just initially, Gatorade was started by a chemist for the Florida Gators. And they were for people that were, football players that were on the field that were training for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day and passing out. I mean, they're like, what's going on with these people? So,
well, they were dehydrated and they were hot. I mean, it's really humid and hot in Florida.
Last time I checked.
Yep.
So he created this, and this was done by a chemist, and he created a whole wonderful solution of antioxidants, electrolytes, and he put in some glucose, not fructose, glucose, which every cell in your body can use. The fructose can only be used by your liver, okay? So Pepsi bought this company. They're like, okay, how are we going to market this? Because if you ever tasted the original Gatorade, it was not pleasant tasting.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did.
I remember it. I mean, I remember it being, it was not pleasant because it was designed as a drink to help you with electrolytes, with glucose, with hydration. That's what it was designed for. But then they marketed it with Pepsi, and then they started to put tons of sugar in it, tons of sugar. So like an average bottle of Gatorade has got probably about anywhere from, depending upon which size bottle, but we're talking about 30, 40 grams of sugar, which is more than your daily nutritional requirement for sugar. And it's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
So when I was doing my research on hydration, since we're on a whole food plant-based lifestyle and we have limited sodium in our diet, when I was getting at about 5 miles on my runs, I was getting a headache. And so I talked with some of our premier plant-based athletes and trainers, and come to find out a simple solution of 10% fruit juice with water. So I just would take my sports bottle and I'd fill it up 2/3 of the way full with water. And then I'd put in some apple juice, some organic apple juice or some organic grape juice, and that was my my version, homemade version of electrolytes, and I feel great. I mean, it was really inexpensive. It provided the right sodium and glucose, fructose from the sugar or from the fruit, and then it worked fantastic. And then for my post-recovery runs, I was advised to eat a sweet potato because it provides the proper ratio of carbohydrates and protein, and it fills you up and it builds your muscles back up. And so a simple sweet potato is an excellent post-workout run. And you really don't even have to get crazy about a workout, post-workout run, unless you're going or workout, unless you're an ultra marathoner, a triathlete, a bodybuilder. But the average person works out for like an hour. So it's important if you're like in a spin class and you're really sweating, just have your little 10% fruit juice, water, and you're good to go. Go home and have your normal dinner, have a sweet potato. You're good to go. You don't have to spend tons of money on those highly marketed protein powders and before workouts. Now, they do have a purpose, like I said, with marathoners and ultra athletes and bodybuilders. But for the average, 3-day-a-week athlete, you don't need them. I never
normal
use
people.
them. As normal people. Yeah, I ran two half marathons, and I never used them. So there's the takeaway from the Starch Queens on protein powders, use them or not to use them. Shall we take our next question, Jean? I want to say hi to Jackie and to Lori and to M.A. Wheeler. Thank you for joining the Starch Queens. We're excited to have you. You are welcome to put any questions that you would like to ask us in the comments. Jean's keeping an eye on them so we can. Rose says she's normal. Good job, Rose. So any questions on the whole food plant-based lifestyle, weight loss, toxins, environment, shoot us your questions. We'd love to help shed light on them. So Anita asked about plateaus. Jean, how do you want to talk about, do you want to start on that one? I've got some good,
I'll start with that one.
Experience on going through that with my 100-pound weight loss. And I know you do as well.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I noticed as I started to lose, I mean, initially when you go plant-based, you drop a lot of weight very quickly. And that's because you're changing from the SAD diet to the, whole food plant-based. You're dealing with nutritional, and that's great. But you eventually hit a plateau. And part of the problem is when you transition to whole food plant-based, you find the wonderful things, like the little inner raccoon starts to come out, and you go for those nuts. And you go for the avocados. Oh my God, I could swim in avocados. I could just
guacamole head down.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
And what happens is we start to get into those foods. And if you think about it in nature, where, say 10,000 years ago, if you go back, where in nature would you find a really high fat food, a very high concentrated fat food? You wouldn't. Maybe perhaps in the fall you might get some nuts. Some seeds that fell from the trees, or some seeds from plants. Maybe a sunflower seed when it finally came into bloom. But they were very short period, very, very small amounts, and it was very concentrated, but for a very short period of time. And everything else that we would have been eating, say 10,000 years ago, was not high in fat. So we have this little inner raccoon that loves to go for those high fat things, which is one of the reasons why we have this obesity epidemic, because high fat foods are on every corner, every Starbucks, every, corner. So as
grocery aisle.
Yeah. So anyway, I started to deviate. But when you start to think about it in nature back in the day, we didn't have a lot of high fat things. So as our body starts to lose this weight and we start to get to these plateaus, our body is going through what we call an equilibrium and adjusting, because you're starting to realize, just how much calorically do we really need to operate this to actually lose weight. To actually lose a pound of fat takes a phenomenal amount of effort. And if you are hitting menopause or perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, our fat does not want to give up the mothership. Nope. And it's really, really tough to break down enough. So you have to really dial down your caloric density to do that, to break down that fat. So dialing down the caloric density, that's where we go with the nuts and the seeds and things. Dialing those, actually just eliminating them, doing a low-fat diet, plant-based low-fat diet, will really help a lot. The other one is, well, why don't you take, because that just went out of my head.
Okay, so for me, I like to get into people's heads. I like to get in and get into the psychology of it, and then I want to share what worked with me. A lot of us have issues with body image. We go hell bent for lection, and we go really good, and we'll get 20, 30, 40 pounds off, and then we hit this plateau, and we find that we're comfortable. We're comfortable in this weight. We're comfortable. We're feeling better. We're down a couple sizes. And we're just bringing in, like what Jean said, a little bit more of this higher calorie density food, or we're bringing in something that we had not been eating. And we are seeing that the calories that we're ingesting are increasing. Our activity has started to decrease because for whatever reason, life has played a role. And we've hit this wall. We've hit this plateau. And we are humans, so we blame it on our body. We're instantly blaming our body. Our body's fighting against us. Our hormones are fighting against us. When in fact, it's our fault. It's our fault. 9 times out of 10, we've gotten lax on our exercise. 9 times out of 10, we've gotten lax on our being true to our nutritional program. Yeah. We're straying away from our path and our goal, but we don't want to accept that. And so we call it a plateau. There really isn't such thing as a plateau. The body requires, and if you know your basal metabolic rate, we have to have, like mine's 1,350 calories per day to just keep my heart pumping and sustain life. So when we have more or less calories, it's going to either add weight or you're going to slowly lose weight. Now, for me, my weight loss came off slow. I'm an accountant. I just recently started exercising 3 years ago on a regular basis. I'm just now back to running. So I'm starting to see my weight come off. So it's everything that we do that affects a plateau. We're either adding in more calories or we're not exercising. You do have stages in your life, like Jean was saying, hormones, and it's really difficult sometimes for women who are in the childbearing age that want to lose weight, because when the estrogen is going up and down and that progesterone is going up and down through your cycles, and you have the dreaded PMS cravings, and you're on this diet and all of a sudden, your inner PMS raccoon comes out and you want that chocolate bar. Those all take into account your plateau. If you go out and you have that glass of wine, that's 150 calories. And then, and we say in a whole food plant-based lifestyle, to lose weight, we don't have to count calories. But when we say that, we also don't know what you're doing behind closed doors. If you're having a glass of wine every night or 2, how big is your wine glass? Some glasses are small. some are a goblet, like I have that goblet, but I can't drink wine anymore. So that big glass of wine that I had was probably 400 calories. So if you have 1 or 2 of those and you add that up over the span of a week, you are not going to lose weight unless you're running out that door and burning off that 200 to 400 calories. Jean?
I wanted to welcome Lonnie and Beth. Thank you for joining us.
Hi,
and
everybody.
If you guys can share this, please do. We appreciate that because, the power of social media, we want to reach and try and help as many people as possible, because that's kind of what we're about. But I just wanted to add a little bit to you. Another reason why we hit this plateau and it becomes very difficult to lose weight is because as we're losing weight, we're starting to burn fat. And one of the things we have is in our environment is a lot of toxins that are coming in. And it's one of our ways as a way to protect our body is if we have these toxins in our body, and a lot of them are fat soluble. This is the chemistry teacher coming out of me. We have fat soluble and water soluble. If it's water soluble, you're peeing it out. If it's fat soluble, it's staying in whatever fat cells, and it just dissolves right in. And what happens is we start to lose weight. These chemicals are embedded inside, and they're surrounded by fat. And the body doesn't want to release this fat because it's got this like little, almost like oyster, kind of the same idea that an oyster, you get this little grain of sand inside of an oyster and it starts to coat it every day so that it's not an irritation. Well, it's kind of like that we develop this layer of fat around these toxins. Specifically, a lot of them are metals and things like that we're starting to learn a lot about and how toxic these metals are to our bodies. So that's another reason why it becomes even harder for us as we start to go down, is our body doesn't want to lose that fat because it's protecting us from these toxins. And as you release these toxins, you've got to get them out of your body. So, one of the strategies is to use things like cilantro, which can help, especially for metals. It's called chelation, and it helps to literally attach itself and help escort it out. So, and you've got to have a clear shot for it to get out. So you can't be constipated. So, because if you're constipated, then it's just going to go right back into the bloodstream and go right back into the fat cells. So you're just circulating it. It comes out, it circulates it if you can't pass it out. So you've got to be regular and moving things forward.
Yep. I keep cilantro on my drain board. I just go to the grocery store, I buy it, I trim a little bit off the bottom, I shove it into a glass of water, my little pretty vase of water, and I just pull pieces off of it, and I just, chop it up, sprinkle it, put it on my salad, put it on my my veggies and everything. It's just really good. And like, for example, today I had a pretty major test done this morning. I'm high risk for breast cancer. My mom and 3 of her sisters both had breast cancer. My aunt on my dad's side had breast cancer. My great grandmother died of breast cancer. Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, my doctor recommends that I have a contrast breast MRI every other year, and I had that done today. So you see me drinking my water because the nurse said that you need to flush that through your kidneys. And so I'm thinking that nuclear isotope stuff, whatever they shot into my arm, needs to get out. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. We do hear from lots of weight loss gurus and weight loss organizations that like you to count points, is to, drink 1,000, ounces of water a day. Water is really, really, really important, and it does facilitate the flushing. It's not really designed to wait for weight loss, but it's something to keep you busy, because a lot of people don't address their food addictions when they're going to a lot of weight loss programs. And so the hand to mouth thing, drink lots of water, flushes out the toxins, and it keeps you, really busy. Yes, Jean.
Lottie would like to know, how long does your cilantro stay fresh like that?
Like 3 or 4 days at the very most, if the water gets gross. But it never, ever lasts that long, because I have like maybe 3 handfuls out of it, and I have to go buy more. But it's really, really fragile, and so it doesn't last long. So, 3 days really max. But by the time I rinse it and I pull off 2 or 3 nice size, and I have a full handful of it, and I dice it up. It's really, really good for you. It's so good for your liver, and we really, really recommend it in the Starch Queens program.
I had and I need to get it back going again, but it's called a foody tower. It's a hydroponic tower, and it was in my living room, and I had taken it down because I usually go up, I spend some time up on the Cape during the summers. So I took it down because I knew my husband would not do well with it. And it has to be thoroughly cleaned out. So but that summer I broke my wrist, and I just haven't had a chance to put it back up. But I would throw cilantro in it and keep it. It was in my living room. It's called the Foody Tower. Foodytower.com, I think it is.
I've seen them.
Amazing. Oh, it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And I kept stuff growing in my living room, and I would just walk over, grab whatever I needed, and move on. I was growing.
I want one of those.
Oh, it's awesome. It's really, really awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
And I love having it in the living room. The water, hearing the waterfall. It was it was very soothing. I really
your
enjoyed
little rainforest, your herb forest.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So that is plateaus. It's just working through them, adjusting your food intake, getting more veggies to starch ratio, being consistent. The whole key to weight loss is being consistent. Yeah. Don't stray. Don't let your mind start playing games with you. And if you do get to that point where your body image and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm now thinner than my friends, or oh my gosh, now I'm thinner than my children, or oh my gosh, I'm thinner than my coworkers, I'm going to be different. And if being different scares you, then you have to work through that, because it's okay to be different, and it's okay to keep going on your weight loss program. Get your vision boards out, set your goals, always have your goals in front of you. Very, very, very important. And it's really key. And it's what really helped me get to my 100-pound weight loss. Next question, Jean. Oh, go ahead, Jean.
Well, I just, Rose wanted to know if the foodie tower needed a lot of sunlight. Mine was in a front window that did not get direct sunlight on it. So one of the things I did is I had these grow lights, and they were LED grow lights. And this is actually a funny story, because for Halloween, because I was new in the neighborhood, we've only been, we did the foodie tower the first year we were here. And I had, because the best lights to grow plants in is blue and red. So the blue and red kind of give this purple glow, this purple haze, that was
like 1973.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have any felt glow in the dark posters in your living room?
No. But everybody coming around for trick or treat that year.
Oh, like, cool.
What's in the window? And I would invite them in because they thought I was growing my own, things that I shouldn't be growing. But I'm like, no, it's kale, it's, whatever. But I had these lights, and eventually I switched over to a white LED that still also give off the blue and red, colors as well. I mean, the blue and red is the best. But I had the lights, on the foodie tower. You can leave it outside.
Did it raise your PG&E bill very much to have those special lights?
Well, the LEDs are very cost inefficient. I mean, and I was running them. If you're doing plants on a cycle, green plants like that, you want to run them on 18 hours. 18 hours on, 6 hours off. So I had it on a timer cycle. So
okay.
But yes, you can do that, Rose, without question. You just have these grow lights on them, so it's no big deal. Awesome. And hi, Sherry, glad you're here. And
hi, everybody.
If you're just checking in, please do share this, because we want to help as many people as we possibly can. What's next, Nancy?
So, protein and your kidneys. I will have you talk about that one and how that works with your kidneys and stones. My cousin had kidney stone surgery, so talk to us about kidneys and protein.
Well, one of the problems, first, before I'm just going to get into protein, I'm just going to say, next time you're at, your basic box pharmacy, go in and look. There's an aisle that is growing. And I remember when we first started to see these, they had a little section on the shelf, on one shelf. Now it's an entire aisle. Do you know what I'm talking about, Nancy?
Yeah, the supplement and protein aisle.
No, that too, but that's grown too. But
candy bar aisle? I don't know. I don't go to pharmacies, Jean. I'm never sick.
I know. Isn't that awesome?
It's awesome.
One of the nice things. I mean, I've noticed that too. It's like I'm hardly ever in these stores. When I
don't
have to go, it's like, this is annoying. This is like, I don't buy any of this stuff anymore. And anyway, it's adult diapers.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Okay. And the reason why is all the baby boomers since post-World War II are now hitting their 70s, and they're starting to realize that they're incontinent. Why are they incontinent? I'm so glad you asked. You guys are great. So the reason why is because we don't store protein in our bodies. Our bodies, if you don't use the protein that you're consuming in a day, it's water soluble and you pee it out. So if you're consuming more protein than your body needs, and according to the World Health Organization, it should only be 5% of your calories.
Right now, I want people to stop and think about 5% of your calories. So my basal metabolic rate is 1,350. So 5% of that is not very much protein. So if we put that into grams, we're talking about maybe 50 grams of protein a day. That's it.
Yeah. Not even.
That's it.
I mean, and just for our pre-days, a little piece of chicken like about that big, that's the entire amount of protein you need for the entire day. That's it. That's it. I mean, the time you need it, and Lonnie mentioned that Costco has a huge section for adult diapers on the economy size, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. But the reason why is your body then has to get rid of all this protein. So you're stressing your kidneys out. And they have noticed that as we start to age, it's not normal to be incontinent. It's not. It's if you look at plant-based societies or plant-based cultures, they don't have words for incontinent. That's not a normal function to
it's not an issue.
Yeah, it's not an issue. It's a non-issue. It's not part of their culture.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why, with protein, we've been really marketed to about protein. We need very, very minimal amounts. When we're a baby, when we're growing, that's the time when we need the most protein in our life. And breast milk, that's what we should be eating. That's what our food. Maybe between 5 and 6. Yeah,
5 and 6%.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. 5%. I know it's not much. I mean, has anybody ever came up to you and said, I feel so awful because I'm so low on protein? Well, how do people know they're low on protein? I mean, no, we didn't.
Do you even know what the name is for protein deficiency?
I've read it a million times, but I can never pronounce it. You can say it though, because you're the educator.
Well, do you know anybody? Do you know anybody who's has protein deficiency?
No,
no one, except in maybe sub-Saharan Africa, where the kids aren't getting enough calories in their food,
and that's a calorie issue.
It is. It's called kwashiorkor.
That's it. Kwashiorkor. Yeah. Kwashiorkor. No, it's not in anybody's vocabulary.
No, not in the United States, because that's not the issue. We have too many calories coming in, not enough calories, not versus that. Right. But that's the biggest issue. So your kidneys get strained when you put that much strain on them, and there is so much protein buildup, you're going to get kidney stones. And my uncle passed a kidney stone between New York and London, going over the Atlantic. Ooh. And they had to make an emergency landing when they got to London. He was not doing well. Yeah, so kidney stones can be prevented. And the big thing with protein is these supplement companies, they want your money. They want your hard-earned dollars. We just don't need them. You just don't need to have that extra protein. It's not necessary. No, and if you're eating those protein supplements, you're getting way too much protein. If you're eating a plant-based diet, you should be able to get about 8 to 18% of your daily nutritional, way over what the World Health Organization requires. Right. Because even like broccoli has protein. Broccoli is very high in protein. It's huge. So protein is a non-issue. It's a non-worry. Take it off your worry list. And don't try and supplement, because as long as you're eating enough calories in the day, you're going to get more than enough protein. Yep. I have that little calorie counter thing in MyFitnessPal. I'll go in and check for fun with our weight loss program. And when I'm doing recipe development, I'll go in and I'll try and get the nutritional breakdown of it so that I can know what the recipe is for the nutritional content. So I'll put in the ingredients, and there'll be some beans and some rice and a lot of vegetables, and the protein is off the charts. And it's like, why? And I catch myself, who cares about the protein? I want to know those micronutrients. I want to know what my vitamin A is, my vitamin C, where are all of the other nutrients and the carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are where we get our energy source, and the fiber. The key to all of that too is fiber. That's where we need to get people to focus on, is thinking about fiber, because what is one thing that animal products don't have? Mm-hmm. No fiber. No fiber. And we do have in the Starch Queens weight loss program, we do spend a day talking about fiber. We do a challenge day where we have you track your fiber. And we just kind of give you a simplified chart. Hi, Kellyanne. Just wanted to welcome you. And I didn't see who else was there. I missed it. Oops. Oh, I can scroll through this. Yeah, Suzanne Lanny. Fox. Welcome. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Lanny. And Lanny's. Oh, Lanny's. Oh, we said hi. And Diana. Hi. Welcome. We're glad you joined us. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. So that kind of wraps up kidneys and protein. Just eat the rainbow, a whole food plant-based lifestyle, rich in legumes and
lots of starches, and your body is going to reward you by healing and returning good health. That's what's really important. So I love this next question so much. How to talk to your doctor about going plant-based.
They're not going to know what you're talking about.
I know, right? But there are doctors that do. Like I happen to be fortunate to have a vegan doctor who's also a nutritionist. It's like I won the doctor lottery. I mean, I just love it. I love her and I love her husband, and it's wonderful. But I didn't have her as my doctor before I went plant-based. And you also won the doctor lottery when you went to the hospital, which what drove you to becoming plant-based. So Jean, if I was the doctor, let's do some role play. I'll be the doctor, you be the patient, and how are you going to talk to me about going plant-based?
Yeah, no, you don't want me telling you because
no, do it. Bring it on.
With my doctor, I've broken her in because my regular,
No, we can't talk. We can't be us. We can't be us. We have to be somebody who has never been plant-based and is going to go to their 65-year-old medical doctor who is really recommending the standard American diet. How do you present your you're curious, you're plant curious, and I've really got you cracking up. You don't want to do role play? So, okay.
I'm sorry.
Giggles out. What is so funny?
Because I just, me being me, I'm going to be annoying when I go in.
Okay, so don't be you. Be somebody else. Put on a different persona. The average person goes to the doctor and they'll say what?
Doctor, I would like to try this. I've heard about this plant-based diet. What could you tell me about this?
Well, I'm really not sure where you're going to get your protein.
See, I can't do this.
So since Jean is just having too much fun with this, what I recommend to people that I coach, when you go talk to your doctor, take the book with you. Take the book, Forks Over Knives. Take a book by Dr. Furman. Take the China Study. I recommend everybody just read the China Study. It should be required reading in college and high school. So go in with an open mind, knowing that your doctor is most likely not up to speed in current science behind a whole food plant-based lifestyle. And don't let your doctor discourage you. Now, unless you have a medical condition like severe heart disease or severe type 1 diabetes, or you're going through chemotherapy, or you've had, some massive cancer surgery recently, there's no reason to not ever go plant-based, because being plant-based is the diet that our body requires. Absolutely, hands down. So even if you are going through the throes of chemotherapy, getting those micro and macronutrients are only going to make you respond and be stronger as you go through those chemotherapy sessions. So don't ever let somebody tell you like, oh, you've got to eat meat and dairy because you need your protein. You don't need protein to be strong. You're going through chemotherapy or going through another type of medical therapy. You're not building muscles. You're not out exercising and running. You need energy. You need energy for good health, and you're going to get that through complex carbohydrates. So go to your doctor, and we always recommend when people start our Starch Queens weight loss program that they let their doctor know. It's just a good practice because we're not medical doctors. We are just experienced people, women who've lost weight, expanded our education through nutrition. I just think that it's a good practice to let your doctor know if you need to. It's not your choice. But the thing is, don't let your doctor discourage you.
Absolutely not. Because this is what we need to be doing. All successful populations were founded, survived successfully on plant-based. I mean, if you look at, say, Central America, that was corn. They were the people of the corn. South America, it was potatoes, except for when they were getting ready to go to war. Then it was quinoa. Then if you look at the Middle East, it was the breadbasket of the world. If you look at rice, and I think this is hilarious because we have Chinese students at our school, and I mean they come over. They're from China. They fly over each year and stay at our school, and literally in Chinese, "Good morning" is literally translated as "Have you had your rice yet?" Because they have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yep.
And so
and they are generally a slender, well-nourished society and culture, and
until the Americans came in,
until we ruined it for them.
Suzanne, I'm glad. Suzanne says she's a physical therapist who talks to her patients every day about plant-based diets. Rock on, Suzanne.
I know,
well
Suzanne.
Done.
Congratulations, Suzanne. I met Suzanne through Plant Pure Communities. I am Suzanne's Plant Pure Communities group pod mentor. And so I just think it's fantastic when we have medical professionals recommend a plant-based lifestyle. It's just fantastic. And I'm cracking up at Rose's comment about no improv for Jean. I really threw you a curveball with the role play. That is so
I'm
funny.
not going in. I mean, I'm going in and to the doctor. I'm bringing my doctor. Here, I want you to read this. We're going to have a conversation about this. And then she wouldn't call me up, and then I'd call the secretary and say, she hasn't read this, or she hasn't done her homework. Do I need to call her mother?
Yeah.
Just started put my teacher, persona on.
Right.
But then we would have conversations about it, and she has really started to change her mind a lot because she's seen the changes in me.
Well, that's just it. That is just it. When the proof is in what's that saying? The proof is in the punch, or the proof is in the pudding,
right? Yeah.
Whatever it is, and that you can't deny that. You have to be your own health advocate. You have to do your own research. You have to be, because nobody's going to do it for you. Because our doctors are in a crisis right now in the health insurance. They're not being paid. They're being paid. Yes, they do make a good living. Hands down, they deserve it. They're the ones who went to school for 1,000 years, and God love them. And if I ever get hit by a car, I want to go to the emergency room and have the highest paid doctor work on me. But when you go to them for other ailments, they only have 10 or 15 minutes. What can they do in 10 or 15 minutes? If you watch the latest documentary, Eating You Alive, they can write a prescription in 15 minutes. And then your body, and then you just sold your soul to the pharmaceutical industry. And especially if you're overweight and you're being treated for type 2 diabetes. And our plant-based Chico meeting tomorrow, Dr. Karen Ramshai is going to be our keynote guest speaker, and we're going to be talking about diabetes. And that's one of the things that really gets under my craw, is when doctors are telling the patients to eat a low-carb, high-protein diet, and yet they're injecting themselves with insulin when it's the fat that's causing the insulin resistance, because that insulin can't get in, or the glucose can't get into the cell, and it's quite the opposite. So that's just really is why Jean and I are doing what we're doing, is because there is just too many people in this country who have diabetes, and they're being told the wrong treatment plan, because they say, well, you can just give yourself insulin, but go ahead and keep eating the steak and the chicken and the dairy, but it's the steak and the dairy and the chicken that has the pure fat that's causing the problem. That's why we were also educate.
And we're eating so much fat, period.
Right.
I mean, as I talked about in nature, you wouldn't find things that were high in fat ever.
Correct.
Ever. So
yeah, good job, Rose. That's fantastic. She went from osteoporosis to osteopenia in a year's time, going plant-based. Wow. So our next question is booze and a plateau, but we kind of touched base on that a little bit with the plateau. But I want to talk just a little bit specifically on alcohol and how alcohol can affect your weight loss journey. And the simple fact that generationally, age group, me being, we're both I'm 55, Jean's 57, and the social aspect of alcohol and your weight loss journey and just your overall health. For those of you who are watching, and those of you who will be tuning in later, a lot of us I'm not anymore, but I was in denial that alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen. The World Health Organization has labeled alcohol as a class 1 carcinogen. I want to say that again. Jean, you're a chemist. Give us another example of a class 1 carcinogen.
Well, meat is now a class 1 carcinogen. Smoking, tobacco, right? Nicotine.
Yep. Yep.
But just on the alcohol, and here's the chemistry teacher coming out of me, because there's only one organ that can break down alcohol in the body, which is
the liver.
The liver. And on the same note, fructose, same thing. Liver can only break down fructose. Fructose and alcohol are broken down almost the same way, except when you consume fructose, you're not getting a buzz like you are when you're getting alcohol. But only the liver can break it down in your entire body.
I don't know. Body. I had a bad apple yesterday. I took a bite out of it. It tasted like apple brandy. It was.
Where is that coming from?
Oh, you said, fructose. I don't know. I was just bummed I got a bad apple and it tasted like alcohol. I was like, wow, this is an old apple that was in the back of my fridge.
Okay. Good. But anyway, so only the liver can break that down. And we used to see, cirrhosis of the liver, which is a, liver disease. We only used to see that in alcoholics and older people that would drink a lot and had liver disease. But now you're starting to see kids with cirrhosis of the liver.
It's heartbreaking.
And it is, and it's because of the fructose. But yeah, no. Alcohol really has an impact, huge impact on that. It's not good. The other thing that the alcohol does is lower your inhibitions. So all of a sudden, then when you were thinking, okay, I can do this, then you get a drink in you and you're starting to, hey, and then, out comes the inner raccoon and you start eating.
You relax on your morals. Willpower is never. None of us can have that level of willpower to outrun alcohol. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. So the biggest thing for me is like my doctor, my vegan doctor, who recommended. She said, Nancy, you're super, super high risk for breast cancer. She asked me point blank. She said, how much alcohol are you having per week? And I said, I'm just a social drinker, and it depends. I can go weeks and weeks without any drinking, but then if we go out, I'll have a glass of wine or two. And she said, well, I really think it's important that you limit your alcohol to 4 ounces per week at the very most. But my medical recommendation is 0 because of your risk factor. And so 4 ounces of wine is like around 120, 150 calories. But because the liver processes the alcohol and is also filtering out, like you were saying, the heavy metals, when you're in weight loss, your filters, your liver is your largest organ in your body. So when you overtax it with processing the alcohol, you're not going to be processing your other digestive elements that are going through your body. So you're going to burn that alcohol first, and you're not going to be burning the fat. So the alcohol is going to take precedence over what you're burning first. So alcohol is a double thumbs down to, if I get both my thumbs in there, a double thumbs down for weight loss, a double thumbs down for plateau. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have always loved to hang with my friends with. Karen says red wine is the only alcoholic beverage that does not increase breast cancer risk. And that comes from Dr. Karen Ramshai, who is our guest speaker for Plant-Based Chico tomorrow night. That's interesting to know, Dr. Ramshai. Good to know. So,
but Lonnie wants to know, she says about fructose that Dr. Esselstyn says to limit fruit as Dr. McDougall, and we say the same thing. We say 2 fruits a day, that's it. Because fruit can have, there's a whole host of other issues, and we can talk about that on another time. But yeah, we say 2 fruits a day. And when
for weight loss.
For weight loss. And then when you start to talk about, you said about Dr. Greger says fructose from fruit does not show the same effect at all as because here's the problem when you're starting to take, and one of the reasons why we're starting to see such issues in the liver is because when we do take fructose out of the fruit, you're processing it, you're concentrating it in the process at which to get it into just pure fructose is a whole different animal. when you get the fructose and it's surrounded by the fiber, it's surrounded by, I mean, you're
Water.
slowing the water, you're slowing the digestion down, you're slowing it down, how it's going through your body. That's a whole different animal. You're taking things out of context when you do things like high fructose corn syrup, which is another reason why they're really starting. It was funny when high fructose corn syrup came out, the pendulum swung up and it was like, yay, we're using high fructose corn syrup. It's natural. And now we're starting to realize how bad it is. Now the pendulum's swinging the other way, going, well, we don't use high fructose corn syrup. And that's a big marketing ploy now. But,
right. And not to mention what that does to the dopamine and the pleasure center in your brain, and the food addiction that it triggers is unbelievable. Yeah. So, all right, let's take our next question. This comes in, Jean, for those of you who don't know, Jean is very well versed in essential oils. Our question is hemp oil for pain. Is it recommended? Now, that's kind of a really interesting topic, especially in California with marijuana being, legalized-ish. But hemp oil, what's the difference? What's hemp oil? I mean, our listeners, what's hemp oil and what are its properties that would help with pain?
Good question. I'm not well versed on hemp oil.
Yeah, I'm not either. So that one is, that one's one I'm just not sure. We'll do our research
and we'll come up with that. We'll find some answers because, and I'll be the first. If I don't know an answer, I'm not going to say something just to make it up.
Right. Me neither. But I do know, the only thing I do know about hemp is I love hemp hearts. So I have hemp hearts. They're a great source of omega-3 fatty acid. But then when I get, somebody says oil, my first flag goes up is, okay, hemp oil, it's processed. What is the source? Is it organic? And, what are the botanical properties of the hemp oil for pain? And so I then have to ask the question, why are you having pain? Is your pain from an injury? Is your pain from chronic disease like arthritis? Are you eating an anti-inflammatory diet? So what is the pain from? So first of all, to answer your question better too, is we'd like to know what the source of your pain is, because that's a whole nother discussion on pain management and reversal of pain. Because if it's from arthritis, your pain should be going down on a whole food plant-based lifestyle because your inflammation is coming down. So your joint pain should be coming down. So that's just a guess on my part, if that's what you're needing it for.
Yeah. I want to touch base on something that you were, just kind of resonating with, or what I'm resonating with, in terms of dealing with issues, because you have to get to the source of the issue. You have to get to what is causing the problems. Right. Like, for example, my husband. Let me just discuss my husband for just a minute or two or three. I go away during the summers, and I used to cook a lot and freeze it. And I'd come home and he wouldn't eat anything. So I gave up doing that. So he eats out. And I came back and he had the worst psoriasis that I've ever seen in our 10 years of marriage.
I was there in Cape Cod with you last July, and I saw Carl's leg. It was angry.
It looked like ground up hamburger. Okay.
It was an open wound.
Yeah. And then it started expanding to his torso. And I'm like, what have you been eating? And he's like, no, I've been good. And I know he eats plant-based. There's no question. But he was eating out breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. And it really overwhelmed his liver because of all the chemicals that are in the foods that we're eating when we go out to restaurants. Oils, of course, salts, all those other extra things. But whatever it was, it overwhelmed his liver so much that it spilled out into his lymph system, and it was his legs, by the end of the day, his legs were twice the size. I mean, wow. And we were using like Pure Haven Essentials to calm a lot of it down, but that's healing it, or not healing it, but trying to deal with it topically, which is one of the things. Like if you're going to the dermatologist and they're giving you, and what was one of the things, because he was starting to really panic, and at one point we were like, should we be going to the emergency room, because this is getting really bad. And he went to the dermatologist, and all he did is he just threw very, very expensive steroids at him. And that was it. And the steroids calmed it down for about 2 days. But it wasn't until we started dealing with him and the food and cleaning out what he had done to his liver till it started to heal. And we're just finally starting to get it to heal, especially the skin. From my learning process on this is, as we get older, the skin is very difficult to heal. As we get older, it takes a lot to clear it up. And especially if you've had a lot of, Rose, this is going to be recorded, by the way.
It'll be on our Starch Queens page.
Yes, so they can watch from the beginning.
Right.
And please share. We ask, absolutely, share it with everybody else and share it on. But it wasn't until he actually started to clean out his liver and detoxify. And not only that, but like I said, he had issues with constipation, and it wasn't until he started getting things flowing again that we started to actually clear out his liver. And so anyway.
Diana, we love essential oils. And that's one of the things as part of one of the things that we didn't do in the very beginning was Jean and I didn't introduce ourselves. So we'll do it at the end, where we give you a heads up on the Starch Queens and who we are and why we're doing this and our goal. But one of the things that we do every day in the Starch Queens weight loss lifestyle program is we have a educational topic. And this last Sunday, Diana, we had a full lecture, a 1-hour lecture on essential oils that Jean prepared and presented. And it was just mind blowing. It was an amazing presentation, because that's something that I'm just starting to learn about, is essential oils and their value to weight loss and to overall health and your environment. And to get amazing. Get the chemicals out of your home and what you can do, the magic you can do with lemon oil and orange oil. It's just, it's amazing.
I got to share one story with you. My sister and my sister's not plant-based, and we were going to my uncle's funeral, and she's always got something going on. I mean, something happening in her body. So she's sitting there pulling at her ears, and I'm like, "What's wrong with you now?" She's like, "Oh my God, my ear is just killing me." So I brought her into the bathroom, and I looked inside of her ear, and oh my God, her inner ear was just like on fire. So
does she have something like eczema going on?
No. Well, that was afterwards. I'll tell you about that. So I went into the bathroom, and I mixed up, because I always carry my essential oils with me. I do not leave home without them. If I'm traveling, they are in my suitcase. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I went in there, and I made up a mixture and put in some into the carrier oil. And then I came in, and I turned her over on her side, and I started dropping some in. What the hell is this crap? I'm like, shut up. And I sopped up the cotton ball and then shoved it into her ear. And, the sisterly love, what is this crap? Whatever. So she slept with it. And the next day I said, "So, how's your ear?" "I don't know. I haven't had my coffee yet." Okay.
See, you do great at, you can't do role play with me, but can impersonate your sister.
Oh, I got that down. So I finally got her into the bathroom. I looked in her ear. Her ear was gone. She's like, "That would have gone into," and she actually admitted this. She's like, "Yeah, that was going to be an infection. I would have been to the trip to the doctor." Did I get a thank you? No.
Good job.
All I got was, she pulled up her pant like, "Can you fix this?" And I'm like looking at her like going, "Oh my God." She had the worst. Definitely my husband's eczema was worse than hers. But anyway, yes, make sure, Diana, absolutely right. You want to make sure that you're getting good high quality oils. And we just talked about that in the webinar. You want to make sure that you know where the source is. You want to make sure they're USDA certified organic. And you want to know how they get the essential oils, because there's several different processes, and make sure that they're solvent free, that they're either using distillation or they're using like a cold press. So
you always want to change as we are on our whole food plant-based journey, and we start looking at the trifecta. So basically, we are coming up on our 1 hour. So we'll spend the last, if you have any questions, folks, please shoot us your questions. We'll be here. We'll stay longer and answer your questions. But for now, we'll wrap it up. We'll give you a quick overview of who we are and our program and what we have coming up in the future. So I'll start. My name is Nancy Matthews. I am a whole food plant-based transition coach. I'm also the Starch Queen of Hearts. Jean and I met through social media, and we hit it off. Our personalities clicked, and Jean was my mentor, and we started our Plant Pure Communities pods. Jean's in New York, mine in California, and through our journey, we developed a weight loss program to help us get past our last stubborn 20, 30 pounds, and it grew from there. And we developed and created recipes, as you know, those of you who watch Jean's videos that are now on Dr. McDougall's website and on the Starch Queens website. Jean is just the master of making these cooking videos. They're fantastic, and the recipes are delicious. The Starch Queens are about helping people get weight off, get the toxins out of their environment, and how fitness, the trifecta is what goes in and on your body, their environment, and fitness, and how we can help get you through the transition of going plant-based and all the way to the end, and keep you at maintenance, and teach you and give you a foundation that's going to make you not ever want to veer off of this lifestyle and go back to eating the standard American diet.
Right.
Because your body will heal. Your body will heal, and your body will respond well to a plant-based lifestyle. So that's me. Take it away, Jean.
I'm Jean Schumacher. I am the Starch Queen of Diamonds because I am like Joe Friday, and she's the Queen of Hearts. Did you say that? I can't remember.
I did.
Okay. So I'm the Queen of Diamonds because I like the facts. Me and Joe Friday, I want the facts, just the facts, ma'am. And that's what I like. I like the facts, and I like research. That's what my background is in science and science education. My doctorate's in curriculum and instruction, science, chemistry, environment, you name it. It's kind of all blended in there together. But I've done a lot of research throughout my life, and love it. Love the science behind it. And I think that's one of the things that resonates with me about this plant-based lifestyle, is because there's a lot of science behind it. So,
yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's what really sealed the deal for me, was knowing that no animal needed to die to sustain my life. And that was the deal right then and there. That was the deal breaker for that was my departure from the standard American diet. It was no more. I wanted to get healthy. So what do we got coming up in the Starch Queens program? What's March shaping up like, Jean?
Oh,
so
we've got lots of good topics off the good webinars coming up. But I don't want to give it away too much.
No, I know. So
tomorrow,
we would love to...
tomorrow, what's our topic for tomorrow?
Plateaus.
Plateaus.
We're gonna. So what Jean will do, if you are part of the Starch Queens program, every morning you'll get an email that has a new curriculum topic. And so this week we've had plateaus, we've had micro and macronutrients. Friday was essential oils. Then we had emotional eating, food addiction. So we cover a whole broadcast base of lifestyle and health, not to mention just weight loss. So we try to get your foundation built. Kimberly has a question. What's to leave? Potatoes, rice, legumes, veggies, and fruits. Easy. Just switched about a month ago. Congratulations, Kimberly, on on your decision to go plant-based. So what's to leave? I guess I'm not understanding your question. Let's say you've got potatoes, rice, legumes, veggies, and fruits. Whole grains. Are you getting any whole grains and greens? You want to make sure that you incorporate a lot of greens into your diet. Lots of collard greens, mustard greens, red chard, green chard, kale, lots of leafy lettuces. Make sure you have a lot of that, and some whole grains, but just be careful on the whole grains. Those are more higher in the calorie density range. And so, Kimberly, depending on if you need to lose weight, it looks like you're on a great start. So the first thing that I always recommend for people to do when they're transition is to just get plant-based. As we fine-tune meal plans that are directed to weight loss, then we start tweaking the ratio of veggies to starches and veggies and legume starches. But good job to make the decision. That's fantastic. Your health will thank you.
I know, right? And I especially love to see when young people because I know Lorraine was watching, and I was just helping coach Lorraine and her daughter. Her daughter's having some health issues, and she's changing her health
Yep.
destiny. You know, she's 18 years old, and she's changing her health destiny, and I love that because she's not going to have the issues that I had.
No.
You know?
And what's really rewarding for me is now on March 1st will be my 6-year plant anniversary, as I call it. And I started on this goal, this journey to change my health destiny. And it was only about me, my husband and I, and my hope for my 2 daughters as well. And then I hoped that it would expand out into my family, because my whole family the majority of them are unhealthy. And now I'm helping, I've got one of my cousins who's plant-based. She's doing fantastic. And now I have another cousin who's going plant-based. And now I'm getting my second cousins who are reaching out to me to have help them get plant-based, because the kids that are in their 30s now are developing breast cancer. They're developing type 2 diabetes. They're battling obesity. Nobody in their 30s should be dealing with these old folks diseases that people used to get when they were 70 in their 70s. Now, because of the standard American diet, this is happening in an early age, and it's not okay with me. This is something that we need to battle, and that's why the Starch Queens are doing what they're doing, and is that so that we can help reach as many people as we can. And we thank you for joining in.
Okay. If you have questions, just reach out to us, because we love to answer them. We'll answer them in the next week's. Join us next week every Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. And we're here. So, join us. Please share and help us get this message out there.
Yep, the replay will be posted on our Starch Queens Facebook page. You're welcome to share it. It'll be a public post, so you can share it on your Facebook page. And you can always reach the Starch Queens at starchqueens@gmail.com. If you have any questions, if you would like to know about our weight loss program, it's sqweightloss.com. Or you can find us in our Facebook groups, Plant-Based Chico, CA, or Plant-Based Westchester, NY, New York. And so we want to be available to you all the time so that we can help you or your family member or a friend learn about a whole food plant-based lifestyle.
Well, and we also coach. We also coach people.
We do.
We coach individual. Yep. We do individual coaching too.
We do. And my Tasty Life coaching program's going fantastic. I'm getting ready to do my first cooking demonstration, official paid for cooking demonstration is next month. It's growing. There is such an epidemic of obesity and disease in this country that we don't have enough health coaches. We need people. There is an industry waiting to happen, to explode, for people to get plant-based, get healthy, get their nutrition certificate, and become a health coach to help people get plant-based. We need more.
Exactly.
Thank you, Diana, Nancy, on the compliment. Have a great evening. High five. Virtual high five. High five. All right, everybody. Make your evening plant-based. Stick to your goals. Say no to the wine. All right.
See, this is why I call her the Starch Queen of Hearts.
I'm gonna get in your head, because that's how you're gonna lose weight, and you're gonna get your healthy journey destination right in those sites, is because it's all up here. It's all up there, and it's the more you know. I love that little TV saying, the more you know. All right, everybody, have a fantastic evening. Night.
Night, John boy.